Okay, sounds good. So, I think a couple of things. One is, Mike's going to show you guys, how to access Freshservice or navigate, get around, do a little bit of training. And then at the end, Devi is going to show us how she gets work orders out of Freshservice today. So that, if you want to dump them out or create a tracking around the work orders and statuses, for our weekly calls, we'll figure out, who's going to do that in the right cadence, but at least show you what we're currently doing and how we're doing that, and then we can figure out the details later. But that was what we had planned. Mike, are you all set? If you're talking, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry, this headset, I think I'm going to get it replaced. So yeah, I'm ready whenever you are.
Okay.
We may want to move a couple tickets over to someone on the team so that they can so I can kind of show it on my screen what it's going to look like for them.
Okay,
or they
cool.
can share their screen, but yeah.
Okay, if you show me and Mark what area you've set up for that team, we can move or assign one over. I don't know if we renamed the grouping.
It should be a new group. So in the agent groups on the right, if we just move one into the ERP support team, and then in parentheses MX.
Okay. Mark, would you mind taking a work order and moving it over there, assigning it to them? Mark, if you're talking, we can't hear you either.
Sorry.
Okay.
So any particular work order or?
No, we can always move it back. Just anything, just to show how it's going to pop up in their queue.
Okay. Let's see here.
Maybe do a couple.
Let's see here. I'm looking for.
There were a couple that came in last night from Australia.
Yeah, I had a bunch from Australia. What is wrong? That the link. Okay, here's one 78719. 719. Go. So I'm gonna. It's currently assigned to Laura, but.
Are you gonna share your screen?
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I have a ticket assigned to me.
You're welcome.
Oh, thank you, Tia.
Surprise. Okay, so we're gonna.
So Mark, if you go up the field above
leave
it to the.
Oh yeah, this
Yep,
one.
that right there.
It's going to. All right, gotcha.
Okay.
Anybody in particular?
No, just leave it right there for now, and
Okay.
then if you can update it, and if you want to stop sharing, I'll share my screen. I'll jump in there.
All right. Should we do one more or just this one?
I think one's probably
Okay.
fine for now.
Okay.
All right. Okay. It's updated.
Whose screen are we seeing now? Are we seeing Mark's or mine?
Yeah, mine.
All right,
I can
you
stop.
Yeah, if you can stop sharing for a second there.
Am I still sharing? I think we're seeing
Yeah, if
somebody else's screen.
I'm sharing my screen right now, which is the dashboard. Does anyone see the dashboard, or do you see Mark's
Yeah.
screen?
Yeah, we
Yes.
see the dashboard.
Okay, got it. Okay, so this is the default dashboard. So on Wednesday, I worked with the team to get everyone logged in. So we actually had everybody on the call that day. So everyone on the team down there can log in. They all have the mobile app on their phone for Okta. So when you log into Freshservice via Okta, it drops you off in this, which is the dashboard screen. Now I've built a custom version of this previously, and I can redo that, but this is kind of the same thing. It's got more widgets to show you, more graphs to show you what's going on. But as you can see right now, there's only one open ticket and one unassigned ticket that's in Rosa's group. So right now I'm logged in as Rosa. So if I go in here to unassigned tickets, the only thing it shows right now, move this box out of the way here, is the one ticket, because that's all we have. So this is a list of all the unassigned, meaning there's no agent assigned to them. Depending on how we want to, sort these out and assign them to folks, I don't know if people are going to jump in and pull them to themselves, individuals, or if someone on the team wants to move them and assign them out, or I can also have the team just automatically assign them to someone at random if we want to do that. But for Freshservice, let's say that you were going to pull this ticket, you wanted this one. So you see the requester, the state, the status, the priority, and who it's assigned to. So right now it's ERP support team, MX, and there's none, so there's no agent. To open this ticket, you click on the subject. Just know if you click on the user or some of these other fields, it'll actually pull you into that user's record, but you want to see this ticket, so make sure you click on the subject. So when you click on the subject, it brings you into the details. You can see the status of it, the priority of it, some requester details over here to the right. The subject, if it's an email, the subject gets placed up here, or if it's a ticket that was created and someone keyed it in, that would pop up here. The body of the email, the message will be down here, and you can click this view more to expand out and see all the details of what they submitted. If there are any attachments, this is a great ticket. If there are any attachments, they'd be at the bottom of the message, and you can click on these, and they would open up in a new tab, and you can see. My computer's a little slow today, but you could download this and open it from your PC. Scrolling back up a little bit, this is a long message. Let me hide some of this. Okay. As you're working this ticket, you can add notes and send messages back and forth with the user, and that would pop up underneath the message, the original message. If we expand out, these are all of the messages sent back and forth on this so far. So as a technician working this, after you've read all of your messages, all the notes that are currently in here, you do your work. Down here at the bottom, had to move that box out of the way. You can reply to the user. You can forward and send this message to someone else. You can add a note to this ticket. So like, I have resolved this. I'm not going to save this because I don't want to put it in the ticket, but you can make your note. At the bottom, you can make it a private note, which is for only technicians. So only technicians in the system will see it. Or you can make it a public note. And when you add the public note, it will actually be available to the person that submitted the ticket. If they're not an agent, also agents. Cancel that. And it's very similar for the reply. So if you hit the reply button, it pops up in more of an email format. So you see everyone who you're going to reply to. So Jason would get this. Mark would get it. Other folks. You can type in your message here, and you would hit send. And then forward is almost identical, but it sends a little bit more detail, which is the message that was originally sent plus whatever notes you want to put in here at the top. On the side here, this is where the group was set. So Mark changed this for you. That's how it showed up in the dashboard for you to pull out. You should also assign this to yourself if you're working it. So I have everyone in this list here. So technically I should have shown this first. So if this ticket's not already assigned to you, you would put it in your name, whoever it would be, and then hit the update button to assign it to yourself, and then you would work a ticket like normal. So I think really for this team, that's all that we would need to do. I guess, is there any questions about that process or about the tool so far?
Yeah. Sorry, Tim. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Arturo.
Just to know what's the different categories that you have in this, for example, in the list
Yes.
of category.
Yep. So the ERP software, Oracle, it's under software, and then the subcategory is ERP, which is kind of in parentheses shows Oracle, and then currently the team is using these categories, and I don't know much about this, so Tia, you and the team would have to explain what each of these mean for these folks.
Yeah, a lot of times, Arturo, we don't even fill those out until we get ready to close a ticket, because when you go to close a ticket, it requires you to fill those out.
Okay.
So it's more for like reporting, in my mind. It's more for like reporting, like, how many, when you're looking back later, how many tickets did you have that involved the database or finance or manufacturing? So it's more categories for reporting.
Okay.
It doesn't drive anything within the ticket or who it gets assigned to right now.
Yeah. Okay. And I have another question about the I don't know the private, when you add a private note.
Yeah. Yeah.
In this case, at the bottom, when you select a private note, I don't understand to who is forwarded this note.
Yeah. So, Mike, I didn't even know you had that drop down over to the left. I just assumed they were all private notes, and I just used the button to the right. That's just a side note. But Arturo, we use this to make notes between each other. So, we always do private, so it's just between IT people, just between our teams. And if you choose up there on the agent, can you click up there, Mike, in the top of the note? There's an agent right there, right? So, like, if you wanted to if you were working this ticket, Arturo, and you wanted to send a note to Mark or Laura about this ticket, like to ask a question or to clarify a point or to make a note about the ticket that you don't want the end user necessarily to see, you would just choose their name there and write the note. Yeah, and you can choose as many as you want to. You could even put in like Oracle ERP team if you wanted everybody in there. And then you just make the note, and over to the right bottom, just click add private note. And then it'll be a note in the ticket that end users can't see, and it'll go to whoever you specified in the notify agent section.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure thing.
So if y'all had a question about a ticket, or you wanted to make a comment on resolution that you wanted to keep between the teams, that's what we use this for mostly.
Okay, that's good. Okay, no more questions for me.
Okay. Mike, I think the other thing might be showing them how to attach files at different places within the work order, because they do they'll help with the change management, and when we, get ready to change a ticket, we'll add change management files.
Yeah, so whenever you're adding a note, making a reply or forwarding, you can make attachments. I recommend doing it in your notes. So you would make a note for what that attachment is going to be. So it could be a screenshot of the change applied or whatever you've done. At the bottom here of your note, you can attach a file, and then you just browse for whatever file that you need. You click it, hit open, and it would. I guess I can do that as long as I don't save it. Just pick one at random. It puts it at the bottom of the ticket here, and then when you add this note, it'll pop up in a similar way, kind of how it shows here. It's like a button that you can click on, but it would be in line with your note. So your note would be at the top with the attachment underneath it that anyone that has access to the ticket could click on and download. You can also, another thing is you can also take a screenshot and paste it directly into here. Get a random screenshot there. So if I copy that, I can paste it into the message
Mhm.
directly. So if it's just a photo, you can add that to your note. If it's a PDF file or some other file, you would want to attach it down here at the bottom to your note. Add it to this ticket. And then once you do that, you would hit add private note and it would store it. Then again, similarly, if you're sending a message to the user, you can attach a file here. Works the same way. And if you're forwarding this to someone else, you can attach a file and forward this as a kind of email message over to someone else.
Okay.
Okay, is that kind of explaining the
Yeah, I think
attachments?
so. Mhm.
Okay.
The only other thing I'm thinking about is like the status changes.
Okay.
So like the in progress, acknowledged, that we used with the other team. We haven't necessarily talked about that. No, not that one. You know how we had the
It is
specialty?
already AMS status, Mike.
Yeah.
If you scroll down, or I think you may need to add that column. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not seeing
think there's some security that's blocked it. I'll have to add that. Let me do that real quick so I can show that. Let me
Okay.
stop sharing for just a moment.
that. Okay.
Okay, and while I'm adding that field in there, is there anything else that we wanted to go over? I don't want to forget anything.
I'd like to touch on change tickets now that they have access to the system.
Okay.
Previously, Dinesh was creating all change tickets, and I'm not sure whether we'll change that process or not, but I'd like to let them see the separate section and how we use that once the ticket's resolved.
Okay. Okay, so that should be in here now. So if I click back on this, where we were before, click on the subject to get to the ticket. So there's this Oracle AMS here. It's there now.
Okay, great. So, Rosie and team, what we typically do is when we first assign a ticket to the AMS group, we will choose up above where Mike showed you, like we'll select the Mexico team. Yeah, so we'll change that group to ERP support Mexico. And then we'll come down to this and choose assigned, which is like the first step in the work order process to assign it to you. And then save that. And that will make it show up in your queue. And it also creates a time date stamp of when it was assigned. So that when we get into monitoring and measuring SLAs, we can track the various statuses and how long things are in each one. And so once you guys get the ticket and see it, like typically Devi and her team would then change it to acknowledge, which is the second in the drop down. And that's when they start evaluating the ticket and determining what the next steps are and who to assign it to within their team. And then once you actually start working on it, there's an in progress, and so you could change it to in progress. And that's where probably a ticket stays in status the longest while you're working to resolve. or actually doing active work on development or something like that. And then once it's completed, then my team will change it to move to production, or resolved or what have you, like these other statuses. And then if something gets held because you're waiting on business, we can put it in that status, or if it's waiting for testing, or if it's an SR, we put it in waiting for vendor. So I think, one thing I could do is create like definitions for each of these and how we use them. And it just helps to keep track of the flow of the ticket. It's not like, you have to be, it doesn't have to be super precise. Like it's not meant to be stressful. It's just to kind of keep track of the tickets through the process. If it doesn't get done, it's not the end of the world, but.
So,
If I understand well, in this part, we change the status. Depends about tracking of ticket, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
but the status change immediately after we assign it to our team to some person.
It doesn't. It's manual. So like if Rosie saw a ticket and she, was going to assign it to say you, like you Arturo, she could assign it to you up above and then, put acknowledge, like y'all are looking at it, or if you started working on it, you could change it to in progress. So it's really driven by, you guys and where the ownership of the ticket is. Or, if you want us to, if there's a business question involved in the ticket and we're putting it back over to business, then you could move it to the bucket of waiting on business, and then, make a note to Laura or Mark or Kelsey to get with the business and ask a question or do something with that ticket. So it's really just driven by where you are in working on the ticket and how you're working it.
Yeah, as you said, in this status, the ticket will be in this status for the longest, because we will review we will check in with the user or add notes or whatever else.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay.
It's just really to help us all manage, like, where things are in the process.
In what moment the status on hold is valid? Is valid, because I don't know if it.
What do we use on hold for? Yeah. So there's a couple tickets probably out there now, or instances like this, where we start something for the business and something changes with them and they say, let's use the example of an employee leaves, right? An employee leaves that's key to the process and getting an enhancement done or something. And they might say, let's put this ticket on hold until we get the position filled again, and then we'll come back and pick it up later. But we don't want to close it because we've still got, whatever research we've done or preliminary work we've done, but we're not actively working on the ticket, and we're going to put it on hold until we're ready to work on it again.
Okay.
That doesn't happen a whole lot, but there probably are a couple in that category.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And those are things like, that status in particular, we would probably all be talking about as a team in our weekly meetings, and we would tell you guys if something was moving to on hold.
Yeah, I suppose there is a meeting with you and Laura or Mark in order to approve this status.
That's right. Yep. The Thursday morning meetings that we all will have, we'll talk through those kinds of things as we go through tickets.
Okay. Thank you. just another little question. So, what's the difference between on hold and waiting for business?
On hold would be something that's probably going to sit there for a little while, and no one's doing any active work on it. We're not working on it. The business isn't working on it. It's literally just going to sit there. Waiting on business would be if we've asked them to provide feedback on a ticket, or if they're trying to make a decision. Let's say we've given them a couple different, alternatives for solution, and they're trying to make a decision, or, we've sent them an email and it's taken a while for them to get back to us to get an answer. We would put that in a waiting for business status, because, your team can't move forward until you get something back from them. So it's a way to say we've done, the Mexico team has done everything that we can. We can't do any more work on this until we hear back from business, so that it doesn't sit in that in-process queue that looks like you're actively working on it and nothing's getting done.
How many times do we have to wait for change the status to waiting for business? I mean, maybe I answer or rather note right now in the morning, and I don't have any response during the day, and one day passed from since my answer.
Mm-hmm.
Can I put this ticket on waiting for a business, or I don't know, this I have to wait for more time?
Yeah, you want to know, like, what's the criteria, like how you know when to put it there. I think you could use it anytime you wanted to. There's not any hard or fast rule on it, but I think of it as being a little longer term, like not just waiting for a quick email response, that might take them a couple days to get back to you, but more like if they need to, respond back to a specific decision point, and it's going to take them, a week or something to get back to us. Or if you've sent an email and you haven't gotten a response, for several days, you could put it in that status. Divya, do you want to weigh in on that at all? Like how y'all have determined when to put something on waiting for business? How do you think about that?
Yeah, whenever we need some sort of confirmation from business or some sort of verification, Tia, that's when we put it as waiting for business.
Okay, so you move it there anytime. It's not on a timing criteria. Like if you've sent an email and asked for follow-up, you put it in waiting for business?
Yeah.
Okay.
But few of the scenarios where Oracle team, as in Kelsey or Laura or Mark, they would take the ticket back to themselves, whichever is in waiting for business, because they would connect with business. But there are few scenarios where it would be like once we get the business confirmation, myself or offshore would need to work on it. So
Right.
such work orders would stay in our bucket only with waiting for business status.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, Arturo, they have used it before, like what you were saying. If you send any kind of information that you're waiting on the business for and you're stopped on that ticket until you hear back, you could put it in the waiting for business status.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that would keep it simple. Then you don't have to worry about time or, criteria.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have another question.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. What happened? What about with weekends? Because, for example, right now maybe I have a new ticket, but I have the status on in progress. But the weekend is just tomorrow. Do we have to change my ticket because we have tomorrow start the weekend?
No, it'll just stay there. Yeah, it's just a way to report on, the statuses when we're all working on things every week. It's
Yeah.
not, yeah, it doesn't, Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, would it impact timing if we had an SLA measurement on something? But no, you don't need to change the status of tickets back and forth.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just more for us to manage where in the process tickets are.
Yeah, and well, another question is, can I, well, should I have to expect answering on weekend from the user or from another technician? If I send a message on Friday afternoon, should I have to wait an answer maybe on Saturday or Sunday, or this response will be received until Monday?
Yeah, it's a good question about weekends. We haven't really talked about that yet, but we typically we're not going to work tickets on the weekends. The only time we would work a ticket on the weekend would be if it's in a couple different categories, either an emergency, obviously like systems down, or if it impacts inventory for company shops, because they have to have their inventory done by Sunday evenings. And so we have an on-call schedule for my team, and each of us are on call for different weekends. And so we watch tickets that are coming in, and if a ticket is in one of those two categories and something that we have to respond to, my team is the first line of defense for that, and we'll respond back to the shop or the user, again, if it's an emergency or if it's related to inventory. Otherwise, we're not going to respond to a ticket or work a ticket until Mondays. And so if we had a major issue on the weekend where we needed the Mexico team to jump in, I think we need to figure out what that escalation would look like. And, Rosie and Jerry and I could talk about that, but most likely it would be, me or somebody on the team like Dinesh reaching out directly to Rosie and saying, we have a 911 and we need help from the Mexico team. But that rarely happens. I can't even think of the last time that would have happened where we needed AMS support on a weekend.
Okay.
But we do need to create a protocol for that. Like if we had an emergency, what's our communication method and how do we do that? And we can put that on the list to figure out. But typically we wouldn't expect you guys to ever work on the weekend on our tickets.
Okay, thank you. I think that's all for the moment.
All right. Okay.
Rosie, do you
want to see if the team has any other questions, Arturo, before we move on to change tickets?
¿Tienen más preguntas, chicos?
Sí, Rosy. Oye, ¿cuáles son los tiempos para cada uno de los estatus?
Es lo que yo pregunto, Arthur, ¿cierto?
Sí,
Arthur?
sí vi que decía del tiempo de atención para el fin de semana, pero no sé si a lo mejor no puse atención, donde dice medio, bajo y alto. En el estatus, ¿cuánto tiempo tenemos para resolver? El SLA, pues.
Okay. Yeah, Rosaura is asking about the time of the status, or the how many times do we have to for any level? Yeah.
Like the SLAs or the response times?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
depends of the urgency level, I think.
Yeah, agreed. So Rosie and Jerry and I have talked about that very high level. Like we've proposed some general SLAs, but we haven't talked about it in detail and said this is exactly what we're going to do. I think that, for now, like while we're getting started, a lot of that will be conversational between Mark and Laura and Kelsey and you guys, and they'll let you know if something is an urgent ticket, and help prioritize, what tickets to work on. And again, we'll be talking about those every week in our weekly status meetings as well. And then eventually, we'll get some SLAs in place, so it'll be a little more standard. But I think initially it's just we're talking about them and we're letting you guys know the priority and the urgency so that you can help, plan your activities.
Okay, yeah, if I understand well, the first step is according to the slide that we talk about with Jerry, yes?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, but we haven't talked about those in detail, Rosie. So I think we need to come back to that and say, are these our standard SLAs for sure? And then we could share those with the team. We hadn't quite gotten there yet.
Okay.
Yep.
Rosaura, the moment, let me translate. Yeah.
Sure.
Sí le entendí, Rosy, muchas gracias.
Sí, tenemos una presentación con Jerry y ahí tenemos los SLAs, ¿sí?
Sí, gracias, Rosa.
No me digas Rosa.
Okay.
Thanks, Tiago.
Fernando, I have the question. Do we need another category? That be great.
Do we need another what?
Category.
Category?
Yes.
For what? For your team?
Yes.
¿Quieres ver todas las categorías?
Mike, can you click on the categories? So typically these are already filled in, that first part, like it's software and it's ERP when the ticket gets assigned. And then when we close the ticket, it forces you to fill out this part, like the item. So I don't think we need a new category. This just drives like reporting and categorization of the ticket. It doesn't really do anything within the ticket. But I don't know if you're thinking about something else, Fernando. Like when you're thinking of another category, maybe is there a specific idea that you have?
I know the specific category in the moment is new. A new category is possible to create.
Lo que tú quieres saber, Fer, es si podemos crear una nueva categoría o tenemos que usar esas.
Sí, si podemos crear nuevas categorías o utilizamos esas.
Yeah, the first question is if I need or if we need a new categories, is possible or we have to use these categories that was great.
I will defer to Mike, but I think we could create a new category if we thought we needed to. These are just kind of the buckets that seem to cover, most of the work that we do in the system. It would be more of an item. So the category is software. It's usually like just software or hardware. The subcategory is always like the ERP system, Oracle. So that's the ticket, being assigned to our area. So maybe you're thinking in the item drop down here that Mike is showing, if we needed to add something else there, we could. But yeah, if we needed to add something, we could do that. I think we just need to understand, what you're thinking or what you want it to do.
If we must justify for the new category but I understand the item is the all categories according to the support in Oracle, right?
Correct. That's right.
Let me translate. Yeah.
Okay.
Es que tiene categoría software y luego tiene la categoría del RP y en items tiene todas las categorías acorde a los módulos y a lo que se usa. Sería cuestión de ver, pero dice que sí podemos solicitar una siempre y cuando pues justifiquemos el uso.
Sí, sí, se escuché. Ok,
Sí.
está bien.
Thanks, tía. ¿Alguna pregunta más, chicos? No more questions. No more questions. Go ahead, thanks.
Okay, thanks. So I think we're going to switch over and show you guys the section in Freshservice that is changes. So you know how before when you guys want something to come through CAB, you send it, you know, in an email to me and Dinesh to get approval, and then Dinesh creates the change ticket. So this is the module or the area in Freshservice where we do the change tickets. So I wanted to show you real quick how this works, because you know eventually if y'all do start using this system for Mexico, I think this section would be really beneficial. So that one that's showing up right there actually is one of the changes that we put into production. But yeah, I'll let Mike walk through this real quick.
Okay, so I may need to change some things here too. I didn't know that we were going to be giving change access. There is some by default, so if we need to adjust it, just let me know.
I'm not sure, Mike, that we will. Like, we need to figure out that flow and whether Dinesh keeps doing these for now as part of, you know, our controls with them switching to, you know, from a user to AMS or whatever. I do need to figure that out. I just thought we could show it to them real quick, like what it looked like.
Gotcha. Did you want to show them creating one or just an existing?
Yeah, just creating a change would be great. Or,
right. I might have to grant access to that. I don't know if they don't have access to that one yet.
Or you could maybe sign back on as yourself and just show them how a ticket or a change gets created.
Right.
This is just informational for now, Rosie. We're just showing you how we do a change ticket. You guys do not have to do this right now. I just want you to see the process that we do to move changes, create a change ticket, move it to production.
Right. So there are two things I want to show you. So one is the create menu, which is this blue button at the top, and then on the sidebar here, I guess I should have gone over that earlier. This first icon is for tickets. Just these are incidents or service requests. The second one is problem tickets, which I don't think we're getting into today. This next one is for changes. So I don't know what shape you would call that, but it's this one here, and it bumps out changes. To create a ticket or a change, you click this blue button at the top, and you would click the change menu here. Right. And okay, so you would type in the requester, which in most cases is probably yourself. So if this were Rosa, I keep using Rosa today, so we would put in Rosa's name. You would select the department, which Tia, I don't know who they would use. I guess ERP would be the best for this one for now. You would name your change ticket. So there's a format that we already use, and it's year, month, day, and then what the change is. So this would be 2022. What's today? The 5th. So 0805, and then you would name your change. The change types. This is where it gets a little more complex. We would probably need to train a little bit more on this, but you would type in what kind of change it is. So down at the bottom, we do have some hints there, but I think most of them end up being standard changes. Your category would be the same for this team. priority, and then the group would be your group. You would assign it to whoever's going to work the ticket. From here, you would put in
The change is changing.
Yep.
What the nature of the change is.
so whatever, yeah, just the description of what you're doing. The planned start date. Chrome is giving me suggestions there. So we're going to say we'd start this on the 8th. You would pick a time. If you know a time, you put that in here. And you can do it in 15-minute increments. Planned end date would be something very similar. Pick something to keep moving. Do we have to bring the system down to make that change? Like, will there be downtime for users? Yes or no? Who will be testing it? If you have any attachments, you can add those here. Maintenance window we're not currently using. The big piece right now for everyone is to fill out as much of this planning information as you can. So you click on the field, it lets you enter in. So this is a description of the impact to the system, to our users, to the company. All of those notes go in here. As you complete testing, what your testing plan will be, what your testing has been, all of that gets entered in here. And each of these sections, by the way, you can add individual files in here.
Yeah,
You can also
this is where we usually attach our change management document, guys. That's where this goes. That you fill out.
and then you just kind of keep going down the line. So what files are impacted or what configuration changes will be made. You put that here. If there's a backout plan, so if something doesn't go correctly and we need to revert back to an old, how are we going to do that? Who is impacted, users, groups, departments, whole company, whatever. Communication plan, so are you going to send emails? Are there going to be flyers? How are we going to notify everyone that this is all happening? And then this last section is cab notes. So this is more for our weekly meetings. The cab administrators can go in and make notes here, so there's nothing to enter on that field. So once all that's been entered, you would save it, and it would pop up as a change in the list. Let's use that one for now. And it looks very similar to a ticket, but it has these additional planning fields and some fields off to the right that aren't in the normal incident or service request ticket. You can see here are the notes they made on this one with their attachments. So it's your entire plan for this change that's being made. Go ahead.
Sorry, we have a question. In the last part, in the plan, is enough with the CM documents, or instead of attach file by part, each part?
So,
go ahead. Yeah.
sorry, Mike. So, Rosie, we typically, you have to fill in the description, and we'll fill out a little bit in each section, but most of it, we just say refer to attached change management, because we all fill out such detailed paper documentation, Word documentation. So most of these, it's just very brief, or we say refer to attached document.
Okay.
But I wanted you guys to see this because, you haven't seen behind the scenes yet of how we create a change and what goes to CAB. But when you all are providing the inputs to me and Dinesh creates these change tickets, this is what it looks like, and this is how he's using it.
I have another question. The create a new change is for all tickets or only for some tickets?
It is for anything that is changing something in production. So, if you're just answering a user question or we're just doing research and giving an answer, that's just a regular ticket, work order ticket. But if we have to change anything in production and we're doing change management on it, then it has to have a change ticket.
Yeah,
Okay.
and what about the instance? Because right now we are working on PCHBS new. There we have all our developments and even with all developments related with SOA. So what happened with all of this? And what happened in order to move some ticket to production? Do we have to pass first through PCHBS because this is quality instance, or
Yeah.
how can I?
Our migration of every ticket should be the development instance to PCH to production. We should always be testing in PCH before we move to production.
Yeah, that could be possible when a ticket is not related with SOA, but what happened with SOA?
Agreed, Arturo. Yes, I agree.
When we have a ticket related with SOA, do we have to pass directly to production?
Yeah, if we can't test it in PCH because SOA is not connected, then in those instances we can go straight to production. We just have to be very comfortable with the testing that was done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a complex situation that to try to connect SOA with PCHBS and again with PCHBS new, and that's crazy.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, that makes total sense. I get that. And there's a couple other pieces that are like that for us, like our supplier is only, connected to certain non-production instances. It's not in PCH, or, ASCP is only in certain instances. So those are more one-offs, but in general, for normal tickets, they should be going through the flow of going through PCH first before production.
And where can I find this information? I mean, when I raise when the change management document is ready, and where I can find in which instance is my ticket, or because every ticket we will work with every ticket in PCHBS new. Do I have to create a change management, and by definition the NESH will move this ticket to PCHBS? And
if I'm understanding your question correctly, I mean, we'll keep doing the same process we've been doing with Dinesh. So if you need something moved to a certain instance, Dinesh manages that, and then when we if it's been unit tested in PCH new, and then you're ready for it to go to PCH, you can do that anytime that you're ready to do the testing. You don't have to have the change management completed for PCH. But then when it's ready, once you've tested it PCH and it's good to go, then at that point is when we need the change management to get it moved to production.
Okay.
Okay, I know we only have a few minutes left. Divya, can you show us how you get the ticket download out of the system currently?
Sure.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Mike.
Oh, you're welcome. And if there's ever any questions, anyone can always reach out to me. I'm more than willing to assist.
Okay,
whenever we need
thank you for that.
Hope you all can see my screen.
Yes,
So
I can.
as Mike showed us, we will have all the list of work orders in this particular page, and to our right we have this filter page where we would have agents like unassigned in case if we select a group and all the unassigned work orders, or in case if I need to view only my particular work order, I'll just have to keep me. And so how I take the extract of all the tickets which are open is I'll just give ERP support team offshore, because usually all of the tickets will be assigned to offshore team. And so I'll just give this date, and created I'll give anytime. So that we would get the complete list of work orders, and I'll make sure that none of the other fields are filled, because that would affect our filter criteria. So mostly what we can keep other than those two fields as status. One I would keep in open and another one in pending, because majority of the work orders would come in open status, but there are very few that might be there in pending status. So I do select these two, and based on your filter criteria, once you select this apply filters, we would get the complete list. Okay, so once we have the complete list, I'll have to click on this export tickets and select which format I would need it. I'd be always selecting Excel, and the created time, usually it will default to last 30 days, but I set it to somewhere in 2020 when the ticketing tool started, like when we started using the ticketing tool and till date. Mike, why is this getting changed? This would not. You see some changes which happened. I would be able to select the complete range from 2020 till date. So I'm not sure what exactly is happening here. It is defaulting to 1 month. Mike, can you please check on this?
Yeah, I'll have to check on it. There, do you normally report that such a large time period?
Yeah, I would normally put such a, because we would take all the ticket extracts.
Okay, you want to make sure you get all tickets.
See, just when I changed it to Feb, it changed to March. I think something got changed. Because by default we would have 30 days, and we can also filter for 7 days and from yesterday to see the new tickets. But when we take the complete ticket extract, usually I'll keep it from 2020 till 2022. I'm not sure what got changed here.
Okay. Yeah, we'll look at that, Divya.
Yeah. So once we select that and click on update, we would just note on what all fields we wanted in the extract, like subject status and the incident number, Oracle AMS status. Incident number is nothing but the ticket ID, requested name, and also the description, which would have the complete details about the work order, and which we went through in our open work order sheet. It would be like this. Whichever columns we need, I'll just select that, and we would take an extract out of it, like the creation date, last updated date, due by time, all of those fields which are required, and we can click on export. So once I click on export, whatever email address is linked with your account, you would get an email here.
So, Mike, I assume if we had a standard format like that we're exporting every week, we could create a report that does it automatically, right?
Yeah, I can easily build that. Do we normally do this on demand, or is it something
No,
that can
we
be
do.
scheduled?
They do it every week. We have a status meeting every Thursday morning, so they've been doing this manually for
Oh wow.
this whole
Yeah,
time.
that's something I can build in the analytics module and have it emailed out automatically.
Okay, that'd be good. So we'll work towards that. We'll work
Okay.
towards getting something set up for the Mexico team, so they don't have to come in and dump these work orders out every week.
Yep.
Until I asked Devia yesterday, I didn't know that's how we were doing it. So we can
Yeah,
create
that's-
a better process for that. Okay.
For sure, yeah, we can make that a lot easier.
Okay, perfect. All right. So Devia, we can work with you on that with the current formats and parameters and have Mike build something. All right, awesome. I know we're out of time, so
I'm not sure why it is taking time to send out an email, but usually we would get that email in like a few seconds.
okay.
So this is how we get the ticketing extracts, and after which we manually copy it to the work order dashboard. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
And then it
copy.
flows through.
Copy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that, Devia. All right. Well, we will let everybody go. Rosie and team, if y'all have any questions afterwards, or any follow-up questions, just let us know.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Y'all have a great day. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.